Hello and welcome to Full Focus, where law and news intersect. I'm Crystal Parham. In the wake of the tragic death of the artist Prince Rogers Nelson, there are a lot of questions that need to be answered. But one of the biggest questions is who gets the money? As we all know, as of now, Prince died intestate, meaning he did not have a will, he did not have an estate. Today we have with us an expert, a guru, a whiz. His name is Paul D. Jones, and he's going to discuss with us financial planning, why this is so important, and even give us tips that the everyday person can follow. Hello, Mr. Jones, and welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
So Prince died intestate without a will. What does that mean for an estate?
Well, what happens is it's kind of like total chaos. That's the way I kind of look at it when I'm teaching. You accumulated a lot of wealth. You have substance. You have something real. We need to know where that goes. People need to know where that goes. So if you imagine, so people can understand it, you own a car. You pass away. Who gets your car? Because that vehicle is just sitting there with no one claiming it. So the way that works is now it goes to the next of kin. So in all actuality, the next blood relative is who gets it. I always tell people the importance of having your estate plan or your will in order is because you don't want to go through unnecessary probate and unnecessary, basically a microscope now over your family's estate, saying what you have and what you don't have, when you can keep things real streamlined and transparent so it goes to the right people that you want it to go. And, I always tell people, if you didn't want it to go to any of your family, do like Warren Buffett. He put the trust up, and he already says his family is well off. Everything else goes to charity. So there's many different reasons to have it, so it goes to desired places where you desire. And, no one knows when they're going to go. That's why we just all need to stop for a minute, take care of our state, put a will in place, put our life insurance policies in place, and then have a designated person who knows where all that is, just in case the inevitable happens.
So in terms of estate planning, if your property goes through probate, is there any kind of loss? Do you lose more money? Do people not get the money? Like, how does that work? Is there a deficit other than the fact that you don't know who's getting what? Is there any other downfalls?
Well, yes, because that means that you have to pay for it. So what happens is the state takes over everything, and you who own it, you basically don't have anything until they go through it. Now, keep in mind, this means if you have debt, well, now they have to make sure that's a debt. So anyone who has a claim on debt, who knows how much a person may have had in their home mortgage, or they may have just refinanced their house, or got a line of credit somewhere, the credit card debt, all of that has to get taken care of. And that's what probate does. It goes ahead and combs through your entire estate and makes sure that everything is proper. And then what's left, including the fees of the attorneys who have to do this and the auditors who have to do this, they are all getting paid at their normal great rate. I'm just going to say little rate, but it's a great rate, and that's at their own determination.
So
for an estate as large as Prince's, that's going to take months to comb through everything, because you have the studio masters, you have the intellectual properties of music that's unreleased, you have the movies, everything that he's done. All of that needs to be designated to a specific area, and the rightful people need to be taken care of. So whatever agreement you had, that gets taken care of first.
So basically what you're saying is, if, for instance, he had a will, or if he had an estate, he could have made provisions of who gets what, but now everything goes into one pot, and creditors get the first bite of the apple.
Yeah, creditors and the auditors, the people who are in place first, they get taken care of first. So I'll just use myself. I have a beautiful wife, a daughter, and a son. Well, if something happens to me, there's not going to be a single outsider coming in to control what's theirs. In the case where a person doesn't have that, then they have to find that nearest relative. Or some people would say, I had a rich uncle. So we have to find the nephew or the niece if you're the rich uncle, and what's left is what you get after all of the attorneys and the auditors and the people that empower you or empower for probate to make it happen. They get taken care of, and anything else, and then it goes from there.
I mean, that sounds like a hefty bill for the estate to pay with the auditors and the attorney's fees. And does it get to be expensive?
Oh, they can run up the bill because who's there to regulate it?
Right.
Of course it's going to be expensive. And that's why it's one of those things that for all of us regular everyday people, I like to say, because I don't have hit records and things like that, that's why we must learn from things like this. And that's really my whole point, is to say we've seen this in many different cases, smaller cases, but we have to learn from it to say, you know what, I don't want this to happen to my estate. And for someone like Prince, he was a very private person in the first place. So with him being as private as he was, it's just one of those things that we know that no one's expecting, not even myself. I could be gone an hour from now, but no, I'm not expecting to go.
Right.
Well, that means we need to take care of all the little things now, because now unnecessary people are involved in it, and it's just unnecessary.
Do you find that, like, everyday people don't really believe that they should do estate planning? They might say, look, I don't have millions of dollars. I don't have record labels. Like, do you find that they don't do estate planning, or there's a myth that they shouldn't do estate planning?
It's probably a misunderstanding more than anything, but we have to realize that regular everyday people are real. Understand this: if you are a parent and you go, but you've worked and your child or children are under 18, the reason you need a will is because that's from Social Security. We know that's going to go to them, but where's your pension going? Who gets that? Who gets your children if unfortunately you go away? All of that needs to be spelled out, and all it really is, and that's why I wrote my book, Schedule for Success. If you actually schedule your life, and you just say, this is how I want my life to go. This is the blueprint. This is the map of how I want my life to go. And you actually consider, if the unthinkable happens, what do I want my estate to be? And some people will say, well, I don't have this. I don't have that. We always have a little more than what we think about. And that's why I say, for those who feel they don't, the one thing that you have that I know you can do, that everyone can do, including myself, is have life insurance. You want life insurance because if you're no longer there to provide for your family, especially if you have young ones, well, that life insurance can be the amount that it would have taken you to take care of your loved ones anyway. Because no one's going to love your children as much as you will love your children. And if people can sink that into the heart and personalize what I just said, that should make everyone run and increase the life insurance policy for their estate, their children, because if you own a home, understand how wealth is perpetuated. Wealth is perpetuated because usually a grandmother, a grandfather, or a great-grandmother, or great-grandfather passes away, and whatever they accumulated in their lifetime, they now leave it to their children and their children's children. Now, for those who properly plan and do that correct, they're the ones who actually get ahead. And we have to be mindful of that, and that's how. So it's not hidden on how wealth is created. We don't want to look at it and say, well, this guy had millions and he had all this stuff. Regular, everyday, hardworking people like myself can do very little things, and we will make the next generation better and better and better. And there are so many wealthy people who are unknown who follow the same principles that I'm saying. And I think that'll go for everyone.